Hello YouTube. Today I am restarting my Husbando guide series. I know it's been a while since I've made another one of videos like these, but just a disclaimer, most of my guide videos are not scripted. I don't really like reading off scripts and I don't take the time to go off scripts. So please expect some of my words to sound off, or I do a lot of redoing. But let's get on with the showcase today. Today I will be showcasing a very interesting unit today. One of the newer heroes to the addition of Epic 7. Not too recent, but also not too old. And this unit, which isn't Ken, no, is going to be Taeyou. Now, the thing about Taeyou is if you read his skills, S1 increases combat readiness by 15%, and damage dealt increases proportional to his speed. Now, the thing interesting about this is Taeyou is a warrior. Now, compared to most warriors, not most warriors are built with a lot of speed. Now, Taeyou, although has a very good base speed, isn't a thief. The thing about thieves is thieves usually have very high base speed, and that's why a lot of their damage is really well working with proportional to speed. Now, Taeyou, on the other hand, does not really work well with being an opener, because although his S1 deals damage proportional to his speed, it's very difficult to build him with a lot of speed, as his base speed, although above average for a warrior, is not good speed contesting against other openers like Ron, Peyra, etc. As you can see here, my gear makes my Taeyou a follow-up opener. He's 260 speed, 268 crit damage, full crit chance, a little bit of effectiveness as much as I could fit, and no bulk stats whatsoever. Now the reason for this is I like to use Taeyou as a counter to Caesarea and Peyra teams. He's also a pretty good soft counter to Politis, because most Politis nowadays are paired with like C. Lilius, and C. Lilius has 2 non-attack skills, which is going to get me to my next point. Taeyou's passive, after an enemy uses a non-attack skill, dispels all debuffs from the caster and becomes enraged for 3 turns, granting skill nullifier to the caster for 1 turn, and can only be activated once every 3 turns. Now, this, very similar to Celine passive, works really well because against the non-attack units, if he's getting crowd controlled, he's gonna immediately cleanse all those debuffs. Now, when we go to his S3, attacks all enemies dispelling 2 buffs, and increases skill cooldowns of the target with the highest attack by 1 turn twice. Increases attack of the caster for 2 turns. When the caster is enraged, dispelling buffs effect changes into dispelling all buffs. While sounds good on paper, really hard to execute, because his S3 it does not have the ability to not be countered. He's very prone to like Rem counters, A Ravi counters, etc. However, the increasing skill cooldown of the enemy with the highest attack does make him pretty good as a contestant against Hua Young or Caesarea, or just any DPS on the enemy team that have high attack. Now, move on to artifacts. I'm using him on his own artifact, I believe is really good. Taeyou artifact increases attack by up to 20%. Mine is only +7. Maxed out it's 20 if I recall correctly. And after an enemy uses a non-attack skill, increases combat readiness of the caster by 10%, can only be activated once per turn. I think, and this is why it goes hand to hand with how I built my Taeyou, it makes him a really good counter to enemies that rely on non-attack skills, like Peyra. For a very big example, he was released as a counter to Peyra. Once Peyra uses S3, which is a non-attack skill, he would dispel all the debuffs given from Peyra's S2, and then he would push himself up with 10% combat readiness, and most likely cut in between maybe a Hua Young, or if she's paired with Caesarea, it makes him really good as a counter to those teams if you're struggling. However, one of the biggest issues you're definitely going to come across when building Taeyou is how stat hungry he is. My gear required as much min-maxing as I possibly could just to achieve these stats. You don't have to build my Taeyou like I did. It's very difficult to build him like how I did, but as you can see, 17 speed, 16 speed, 19 speed to 16 speed. This has a lot of crit chance, and this is a pretty good boot. There are other ways definitely to build him, but if you want in a sense a speed contester, you can use Taeyou on his own artifact. He works well as a follow-up to like the enemy Peiras or the enemy Rons or even the C Liliuses. However, I wouldn't recommend using him in RTA because he is prone to C Lilius's S2 provoke. Taeyou is a very hard unit to use. However, when used in the right conditions, he definitely shines best, which can be said for almost every unit, but for Taeyou especially, he is not as bad as people said he is, but he's definitely not as good as how Smilegate introduced him. He's very hard to use. However, with the right gears and the right circumstances, he definitely does his job. However, I will state that Taeyou could use a couple buffs to help push him in the right direction. Like this, it's not really that useful in a sense because he doesn't get anything else other than rage and skill nullifier and cleansing debuffs on him. But the difference is Celine gets a combat readiness push once an enemy uses a non-attack skill. Taeyou doesn't get any of that. He only gets a skill nullifier, which skill nullifier is definitely a good skill to have. It makes him a little more survivable in the enemy battle. However, he doesn't have a push or maybe a better way to activate his passive in a useful way. I would recommend as a buff for Smilegate to give him immunity on his passive and definitely ignore effect resistance on his S3. Ignore effect resist would only apply to the unit with the highest attack, and I think those two things would push Taeyou in the right direction to being what he is supposed to be, which is a non-attack skill punisher. But we're going to be moving on from the overview onto the showcase. If you wish to see more showcases, I have used Taeyou in the past, and I posted a couple videos about it in my channel. If you wish to see those, you can go to my channel. I have a Taeyou showcase, but for the sake of this video, I will show you me using him in not RTA. that's insane. I will use him in Arena just to kind of show you what teams you should expect to be using him in and what teams you shouldn't be using him in for a little bit, so we have some time. And another thing, actually, I forgot to mention, Taeyou is just heavily prone to 15% effect resistance, which I think is very annoying because, you know, you're not guaranteed the skill reset. So if they 15% all the resets and the spells, you're kind of screwed. Is a Ravi bait. So we got CR boost, Mediator, Cowwork, and Straze go hand in hand. I notice how we get the push. Straze gets pushed back, which is fun. Now we're gonna go for the S3 to reset, and this will push a Ravi up, and hopefully a Ravi will get pushed up enough where she goes past G Purgus, and then we get a CR push, which I think is the best bet for us. I didn't see if we reset or not, so I just hope he did. Okay, he did. Ooh, that was close. Vigor buff on Hua-Young is scary. There, we get a push up. Now, we're taking a gamble on who's going to be dead, who's going to die here, but we're just going to go for it anyway, since Straze with attack buff always kills. It's always a guaranteed kill on a bruiser or a tank. And it is a Ravi, so that's definitely really good. That's actually huge. Now we're going to go for the S2 on Hua-Young, just to give her attack down. Okay, we get another Outburst proc by Armin, which is fine, I suppose. Hua-Young is still reset for one more turn, so I don't want to risk getting countered again. So I'm just gonna S1 Armin. Now, once we're gonna go for the S1 here, Soul Burn. This will guarantee the kill on Hua Young, and here you can see how much damage Taeyou can do. And I will say that Taeyou does have really good S1 damage. I would say it's one of the hardest hitting S1s with attack and enraged buff. So we can see the damage here. 6.4k, and then rocking the extra attack. And keep in mind, that's with Vigor buff. Now we're gonna lose Taeyou here, but that's fine. I think I'll go for the S1 here. Or actually, wait, he does more damage on S2 since there's less. So we're gonna go for the S2 here. This kills C Lilius, that's good. Let me turn on the music so you can hear this. There we go. We practically win this round, so we're just gonna S3 here. Oh, okay. Okay, she's gonna S2 again. Well, she's gonna counter again. This is a very close match, actually. Armin's popping off here. We're gonna go for the Dispel here. I'll go for the Dispel here. Nice. And then we're just gonna win here. Nice. Definitely close. It wasn't clean, but Taeyou did his job. He reset Hua Young. Hua Young wasn't able to S3 anyone. We just kind of got luck sacked because Armin kept proccing her counter attack. But that's a good example of where Taeyou does work pretty well. Taeyou will reset the Hua Young, and then A Ravi will always be targeting the G Purgus, and I'm questioning now how we somehow outsped the C Lilius. Has to be ungeared, but we're just gonna go for it anyway. You might get a countered Rebellion. No counter from Bellion. Straze gets attacked here. Does risky damage, but we're gonna go for the S2. That way when C Lilius does her thing, we don't get attack down. Now again, we're gonna take a gamble. I see this is a 20k HP A Ravi, so I'm gonna assume Bellion is the one with the highest attack. 20k HP A Ravi is definitely a little interesting. Yeah, I guessed right. We're gonna go for the stuns here since no one's on immunity. That's a Crimson Seed, not A Ravi. But since she already procced her Crimson Seed, we're gonna go for her again for the attack down. Just to lessen the hurt on my G Purgus. We're gonna go for the S1 on Hua Young, just to get some good damage in. And this should wipe. This should wipe since there's less enemies on the team. Nice. Very risky unit to go against. When you don't have any we don't have any units that can non-attack. Now, I'm gonna go for a very risky play, and I think the best play here is to go for the reset. And this should push AOL up. Okay, there's our first counter by Bellion. Now, if it helps or not, we'll determine. Okay, so this will... We're gonna go S2 here. Now, the thing here is Hua Young's gonna S1 Straze and probably kill him. And I really don't need that. I think I'm gonna go for the invincibility buff on Straze. And I know it looks bad now, but we're just gonna hope that we can survive long enough and get enough push from G Purgus, because I procced AOL's passive, so she got skill nullifier. We're gonna lose Taeyou here, but I think Straze has this in the bag. So we get a stun on Hua Young. We lose our attack buff, which is actually very bad, but I think we'll go for the S2 barrier on Bellion, just to reduce her damage. Alright, she does her thing. The light units are always gonna be hitting him. So we're gonna S2 here. Nice. I think we'll S1 here. Hit her. Let's go for the provoke on Dilibet. Nice. Oh, we get silence though. That's fine. Let's finish off Bellion here. Now, Hua-Young is definitely going to go for Mediator Coward because he's the lowest HP. But let's hope we get enough push here. Nice. We're going to go for the provoke, hopefully. Alright, nice. We got the provoke. We're going to S1 on Dilibet just to get some damage in, chip damage. This is going to hurt, but there's a good chunk of damage. We're going to S3 here again to get Straze attack buff. And hopefully this S2 can wipe out both. Probably not Hua-Young, but... yeah, oh, she lived on a thread of health, but... let's go for the S2. Nice. Was S2. Now, that's a good example of how Taeyou was kind of a one-hit wonder. He didn't provide much to the team, but he also didn't do nothing. And I think that's the main thing about Taeyou. He's a one-hit wonder. He's not really... he doesn't shine much in comps like that, where, yeah, he did reset Hua-Young, but that's all he really did, if that makes sense. I think that's good enough for now. I do have video. Excuse me. I do have a video of another Taeyou showcase on my channel if you want to check that out. I actually do have other ways you can use Taeyou if you are struggling with PvE content, and I have built an expedition team based around Taeyou as the main damage dealer. I will show you the video now of the expos of the expedition for the fire expedition with Taeyou. Hopefully this helps you. You know, if you have a Taeyou spare, you could just build him for expo, and that's all he's really going to be used for. For other builds, if you want to build Taeyou, you could build him as a bruiser. I've seen some people use him as a bruiser, so he has bulk, decent damage. He's not an opener, so he won't have like 260 speed. He'll have like around 200 speed. You could put him on like Azure Comet, so he's like a good follow-up. Other good artifacts are like Draco Plate. Give him some crit damage. I feel like a lot of the warrior artifacts for Taeyou work really well on him. It just depends on what kind of build you're going for. If you want a follow-up opener, a bruiser, etc. But however, I hope my showcase shows you, you know, a different perspective. Mine is a follow-up opener. In my personal opinion, if you're an endgame player, if you like Taeyou's design, go for it. Like, you know, this game is all about having fun, and I will say this till the end of time: have fun with the game. You know, you don't have to be a meta slave 24/7. You can have fun with the game, and do keep in mind that my builds and my intentions. Oh, that's my phone. My builds are based off Husbandos only. When you're someone who only uses Husbandos, male characters, I have been Husbandos only for about 3 years already. No, 2.5 years. My apologies. You have to do a lot of work around the meta. Like, Taeyou has helped me in this current meta. I actually say I could say this religiously. I can say that I use him very regularly in Guild War, because, you know, in this meta, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. My opinions are based off the idea and the premises that I've only used male characters in this game. My experiences with the waifus in this game and the other characters are based off me fighting against them. I don't use them, nor do I intend to use them. So just take what I say with a grain of salt, if that makes sense. And yeah, please remember that I don't script these. I haven't scripted this. I'm just kind of going off my experience and just kind of saying what I think. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will show you right now the expedition team that I built for Taeyou. So enjoy, and take care, YouTube.
Shall I get serious now? If you won't step back, I'll slash your justice in two.
I'll have to take care of this myself.
Can you hold out?
Prepare yourself! It's a lot.
How petty.
Hurry.
To give you a painless death is the only mercy I'll grant you.
I'll level the playing field. Whether you win or lose, it's determined in an instant.
Interesting. I'm amused.
I'm charging!
I'll have to take care of this myself.
I'll show you the path to victory. Are you ready? Don't forget this feeling of defeat.
Your interruption will grant you eternal sleep.
Burn to ash.
Shall I get serious now? Whether you win or lose, it's determined in an instant. Prepare yourself!
Go. Now.
Let's see how long you can endure.
Together.
Let me do this. It won't take long.
I'll level the playing field. If you won't step back, I'll slash your justice in two.
To give you a painless death is the only mercy I'll grant you.
Here, please.
Is it my turn?